Hi, guys. I hope everyone's test went well. We've just wrapped up our Civil War unit. As I mentioned in our post, traditionally I have then gone into Reconstruction and used that as a launching off point to tackle our Civil Rights unit. Well, with obviously our changes in schedule with virtual learning and the continued changes, the fact that school has basically been moved back another week. Your final day is now the 15th. We are on a time crunch, and I've decided for this last unit we are not going to be able to do lecture and notes format like usual. So instead, I've created a project that we are going to end on. And I wanted to kind of take you through that project via video, so that way, hopefully, if you heard it, it made a little bit more sense. Let me go ahead and pull up the see, let's pull up the project. So our final unit here, guys, is going to be on civil rights. And your freshman year in American history, you were supposed to tackle the modern civil rights movement, focusing on the 1950s and 60s. If you had me, I usually go a little bit more in depth, taking a look at the women's rights movement, Native American rights movement that took place in the 70s and 80s. This for IB, usually we go pretty in depth, but we have lost weeks worth in terms of time we would normally be in the classroom, and we just don't have enough time to get through all this. So here's what we're going to be doing. You can see here the project, and I'm going to unleash this on Schoology, so you'll be able to have all this accessible there. You have two things you need to do for me, okay? And this goes to the end of the year. Two things that you need to get done. First of all, the identifications spreadsheet. Okay, on this spreadsheet, you are going to get your own copy of this, and I expect you guys to fill it out entirely. This is these are just your IDs for the unit. I am not making you actually write them out on paper. Okay, I've been doing that because, again, guys, this is not the last time you'll see this stuff. Next year when you are preparing for your senior finals in IB, you will use those note cards to prepare for that. So, this is still vitally important stuff, but for time's sake, we are going to do it digitally. If you would like to take the time to write them out, that is up to you, but I will not be collecting those. All right, so take you through the spreadsheet. You can see I've listed out the terms on the left-hand side, and I've also identified kind of the different eras in which they fall in line. So we got Reconstruction right after the Civil War. Technically up to 1877 is when they usually say Reconstruction came to an end. But obviously we've talked about how, long-lasting impacts of that. The modern civil rights movement, 1950s and 60s. I got some guys in there that are much earlier than that. Booker T. Washington, W.B. Du Bois. These were very big names in the early civil rights movement of the early 1900s, 19 teens, 1920s. So just to understand that there's a couple that are outliers. There are a number of terms in that unit. That would have been the bulk of our unit had we been lecturing like normal. And then you can see the later civil rights movement that really took off after the 1960s with the women's rights movement, the Latino rights movement, Cesar Chavez, and then the Native American rights movement. This does not incorporate everything, guys. Of course, this is a survey class, so we're doing the best we can. But here's what I would like you to do on this sheet. And this is your first assignment for this project. So you can see all those terms listed out. Right here in the middle, you can see it says type 1 to 3 sentence summary for each term listed below. I want you to treat this like you would your identifications, okay? I want you to, identify the main points behind each of these, what the big impact was, summarize it in your own words, okay, and try to be as direct as possible, okay? But you have to do one for each of these, which means that you are going to be looking it up on your own, okay? I'm not going to tell you exactly where to look that up. Try to make sure that it's a credible source. There are definitely online encyclopedias that can be utilized for these kind of things. So, here we are, we're not able to spend the time getting deep into a lot of these. I'll talk about that here in a second. But you are really kind of skimming the surface on some of this stuff. But I want to make sure that you are exposed to it at least at some point. So, that is part number one. That is task number one, and that's going to take you guys some time. So please make sure that you give plenty of time dedicated to this. If you wait until the last week of school, guys, you are going to be hit hard, okay? So please do not, over the next 2 weeks, please be working on this a little bit. I don't think it should be overly demanding, but I want you to write out those summaries for each of those terms. And obviously it goes without saying, guys, but, we are still under the same rules of school with plagiarism. Guys, please do not share your summaries. This needs to be in your own words. Do not copy and paste. Okay. Do not copy and paste from websites. Put it in your own words. All right. Let's take a look at the other portion of this in part two, and that is a video. Now, listen, I'm not going to make it to where you have to have like a slideshow presentation. I really want a video of just you telling me about 3 different IDs that you felt very strongly about or you found to be interesting. Okay, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom part here. The video presentation, you are going to pick 3 IDs from those 3 areas: Reconstruction, modern civil rights movement, and the late civil rights movement. You're going to pick one ID from each of those, and you're going to give me kind of a video reflection going more in detail about those 3 items, okay? If you would like to make a presentation like a Google Slides with pictures to run in the background, that'd be even more professional. That'd be excellent, but I'm not requiring you to do that. It can be just like I'm doing with this video right here. You can just go ahead in a 5 to 10 minute span. Tell me about 3 of those events that you have picked. As you can see there, tell me the story behind that figure or event or place. Identify the biggest impact that it had. Why was this so important? And tell me, what drew you to this? What was it about this idea that you found to be most interesting? So again, 5 to 10 minutes. I highly suggest using Screencast-O-Matic. You can log in using your Google ID. But I would highly suggest, that needs to come at the very end. Okay. But don't wait until the last minute, right? Don't wait until the last minute with technology. A lot of times things, of course, don't work. And since this is taking the place of your final exam, guys. So that, in some ways, I think should be a very positive thing. Usually you would be taking a cumulative exam, a comprehensive exam over the entire year. We're not doing that. So this, I think, is actually a lot probably easier on you than having to study over that entire thing. But again, this is mainly just due to the time crunch that we are on, and I have to make sure that you guys are at least exposed to what I feel is one of the most important eras in all of American history, and that is the civil rights, which still stays with us today, so much so. So anyways, again, 2 things: fill out the spreadsheet, create a video reflection over 3 of those IDs, and go a little bit more in depth, but I want you to explain it on video. And then you are going to submit, give me a link. I'll put an assignment, on Schoology, and you will submit that video by just copying the link from Screencast-O-Matic and sending that link to me. Okay. Hey guys, as always, I want to make sure that I'm as clear as possible on this. So please do not hesitate to email me if you have any questions regarding this project. Again, this is it. We are not doing any more lectures. We are not doing any more readings. Okay. This is it. You fill out the IDs. You give me a video reflection. That video reflection and these IDs are your final project. Okay. So please, and I'll clarify exactly what categories they will be in later on. I might do the presentation as the final exam grade, and then maybe the IDs as a project grade, which would help out your test category. So anyways, let me know if you have any questions. I hope everybody's doing well and staying healthy, and I will talk to you guys later. And also bonus points if you know what my background is.